this thing on, see what happens.
Yes.
Hey, maybe we'd,
We're live.
We're live.
That was a great show, everyone. Alright, so we'll see you next week. It's brilliant. What is going on, everyone? It's a special Thanksgiving. Depending on what side of the ocean you're on. Could be Independence Day.
Yeah, no, around here, people didn't even mention it. No one cares anymore.
Oh man, I mean, you know, really to celebrate your first year, you should have like, broke out like the like Star Spangled Shirt and like Uncle Sam beard. Yeah, I mean,
Hiya.
let's face it, people already don't like you. You might as well make it earn it, right?
I realized this with my botched American accent. People just go, you're American.
What do they just think you're special ed? No.
No.
Well, that too. That and my occasional slip-ups into Portuguese.
Hi, Arthur, and hi, Zoe. Hi, Patrick, Mere PPC.
I don't know if it's doing... I don't know. Maybe it is.
Uh-oh. Is it doing that weird thing with the audio?
I don't know.
Okay, that's...
Oh, it is shifted lower. That's easy to fix. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
What we
Yeah,
do
that happened on the foo bar.
have to do is I will have to reboot Pulse Audio, but it's going to take just 1 second. I'll be right back. Oh, I wonder if I can do it live. Why not?
That's what I was hearing in the,
Back there. Okay, we're making slight progress. I know you can't hear me. He's going to type he can't hear me. Alright, let's... Ooh boy, hard mode. How about we rename those syncs? One more try. And 7.
hello.
There we go. Look at that. Magic.
Okay. I can hear things now.
Oh, I had a bet going on with chat whether or not you were going to send me a message saying you can't hear me. It's like, you think? Let's see. Show him. Jill, if you left.
Did you join the Jordan room?
There we go.
Yeah, that's where Jill is.
Yeah, it's Jill.
Yeah.
Still waiting on that video, but...
Video?
Yeah, we do a video podcast.
No.
Yep.
It keeps going away.
We might have to nuke that browser and bring it back up, or I'll...
Yeah,
Here, let me
will
give,
do.
Let me give it a refresh.
Okay.
Hey. You joined us under the promise that there would be fire, and fire there is.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go.
Okay. There we go.
Very quiet, Jill.
Give it a minute.
Okay.
Jesus.
Give it a minute. Yeah. Aw. Yes, Arthur, and lots of fires. And thank you, everyone, for letting us know about the audio, including Steve Husband. And Arthur.
See, Pedro, this is why me and you can never be in the same room. I would have straight up just stabbed you right then. Like, whatever would be at hand, too. All right, I think I have that shot back, and... Oh, there's not much I can do about this.
This is all you're getting. Sorry.
Let's see, how do we... There it is. All right. And... Boom. Yep, I hear some freedom crackers going off. That didn't work. Let's try take two. There we go. And control. Scooched.
Yes.
Okay. No one sneeze. No one look at it too hard.
I still can't hear you.
Trying new things.
Well, this is kind of a last minute thing, so... Pulse audio has been reset. Let's see. Going to have to kill that. And... Really?
Yes, I am a little bit white. A little bit.
I apologize for the dead air, ladies and gentlemen. I'm otherwise occupied.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know whether Chat Realm can hear Jill, so I don't want to cut her off. Because I can't hear her.
Oh, okay. Can't hear me? Pedro!
Let's see, so... Say some things,
Yeah.
Pedro.
Ah, there we go. I heard a Jill then.
All right.
Okay, good. Yay.
That'll do it.
Okay.
See? Piece of cake.
Yes.
Yay, then!
I mean, all of
Yes.
those previous fires were just preparation for the real fires.
Yeah.
Real fires
Yes.
are best fires.
Yeah, Zoe, and Venn is a mad scientist. He's kind of like a techno mage when it comes to this stuff.
Listen, Joe, we'll have none of that. I'm not particularly clever, but what I lack in cleverness, I make up with just unbridled determination.
Yes. Aw,
I'm
no,
too
you're a
stupid to give it
clever.
up.
You're a clever man.
It's just a fancy word for stubbornness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Pure bullheaded brute force and stubbornness.
Hey, man. I'm just saying, you know, violence
If it
doesn't
works,
solve your
it
problems.
works.
Yes, and today my mug is Open Susei, and my shirt is because of the big story about Susei today. Actually,
Spoilers.
yeah, it's our scale 16x 2018 mug.
All right.
Yeah. So, and Susei got their ad on that. That was awesome.
So is anyone at home going to play with exploding things?
And chances are, if you are in the US, you have no excuse not to be watching us. There's explosions going on outside.
What?
Not till it gets dark, though.
Let's see.
Usually about 9 p.m.
Mm.
Well, they start early.
Yeah,
Making noise.
they
And like
start
as
early,
of 2
yeah.
weeks ago.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think about Saturday.
Yeah. Our local shows, we have one here at the beach. It goes off on a big barge on the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been hearing it like the last 3 or 4 nights. Boom, boom, the big...
Mortars.
Yeah.
12-volt battery in a fire? Cool. Record it.
Yep. I don't look better. It's just... Well, I had to compensate for all the light that's coming in.
Cold curtains.
I do have a curtain on the well, I have those there, and I have the one on the window by the sink, but I don't have curtains for the front door, which is where all the light is coming in.
Use old bed sheets like normal people.
We have like 5 different pairs of bed sheets, so we don't have a lot to spare.
What? You have 5 different pairs of bed? What? Do you change them midday or what?
You know, people sweat, and there's a need to wash them regularly.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
5? What, do you change them daily?
Not daily, but like 2-3 times a week ish.
Hmm. Alright. That's about set up and boop. Cardboard over the glass. Oh, that. Barbara, there's solutions, but it's pointless. It's pointless. You can throw stuff at Pedro and give it like 4 or 5 months, then he'll have the idea himself. He's like, you know what I figured out?
Oh, poor Pedro.
To be fair, it only took me that long to do the vape custom liquid thingy because I couldn't find a store that sold stuff cheap enough that it was worth it.
Linux Skinneroo, do you think I'm too dark? If I am, I can adjust that. I've got my blackout curtains full bore.
Right. Oh, beep boops.
Just a tad. Okay, I will fix that.
He's probably got a washcloth over his head and he doesn't realize it, Joe.
Take off your shades.
Right? I do realize that's one of the rare times I realize that I have my sunglasses on is when I walk inside because there's no overhead lights in my... I mean, there are, they're just never cut on. You can't see jack.
Is that better, Steve Husband, Artherin, and Linux Skinneroo? A little brighter. I can go up again. My blackout curtains really work well. They're actually halfway open, and it's still this dark.
Well, the whole point with the curtains aren't to control light. They're to give you a flat base to work with to add light.
Yeah, as a fill. Yeah.
So, I mean, they should just be closed then if you have, like, lighting. So you're not trying to adjust because the sun's moving.
Yeah. Well, I actually have professional studio lights, but...
Yeah, might want to set them up.
Okay. That. That. There we go.
Oh, is this... Are we gonna have this fucking holy war? Gonna get a hard cut. Huh. I don't know. It does that sometimes.
I think it was only doing the hard cut because Jill was kind of frozen.
No, it was doing a hard cut transition. See, it's doing that weird. All right, I'm gonna give it a reboot.
Okay.
Not the box. You people at home are gonna notice the stream blink.
The stream will blink.
Okay.
You've been warned. Let's see. Look at that. The world's a better place.
All right.
Indeed. All right. That was not too bad, consider.
Yeah. Yay! Hi, Maddie19.
Oh man, everything's all jacked up. It's brilliant. I love it. Is everything open on the 4th of July?
Yeah, just places close early. That's what they do. I think I'm gonna get a little more lighting.
It's weird.
Yeah, usually most of the stores close around 6 or 7, so their employees can go enjoy the festivities.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of places here that close at 5:30, and it's not a particular holiday or anything. It's just the time that they close at.
Oh.
Yeah, but compared to like Spain, man. Spain's credit, a lot of places open back up at like 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But it is that favorite day for everyone in the States. Gunshots or fireworks.
Oh, gosh.
Oh yeah, I just noticed that there was no rundown. Cold open it is.
Yeah, I guess we're just doing a cold open.
Oh.
Well, I was going to see how brave you two were if you were just going to try to read silence.
No, it's just occurred to my mind. It's like, oh crap, rundown. I was fighting GUVC
Yeah.
at around the time I usually read it, so.
Cold open.
I could use a cold open right about now. Yeah.
Don't want to hear it. It's 32.
Yeah, no, it only reached like 27 today here, but that 90% humidity though.
Yucky.
You just got to learn to adapt, kiddo.
It's fine. If there's a little bit of a breeze, it's fine. It's just that, you know, walls. Even with the windows open, nowhere near enough breeze.
Fans, Pedro.
Yeah, I never did get a fan. That's something we still need to buy.
Aw,
It's like,
that's something
we
you
had to
do.
be very conservative with the stuff what we brought.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, this
And then you're gonna
this-
move again anyways.
Yeah,
So.
this box with these two monitors and the previous Steam machine that used to be Nori's box, plus that monitor, that was like 15 kilos right then and there.
All right. I need to shave.
Yeah, it's growing. I'm always amazed how quickly men's beards grow.
Thankfully, mine still takes a while.
Oh, that's good.
I cut it 3 days ago, and it's coming in now. You can see it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't look right with a beard. I've tried it.
Clever, maybe I'm old.
What?
I don't know. Steve was saying, I'm sure it's clever. Maybe I'm just old. What's clever?
Steve, we've established on multiple occasions that you're old.
I was more curious about the clever bit. Who exactly were you implying to be clever?
Right.
Steve Husband's on his cell phone.
Why?
Just so you know, there wouldn't be any bandwidth taken from my broadcasting. He's on cellular right now.
That's mean.
Just to be safe. He's watching the stream though, but
You have reasonable-ish internet.
I know, but I just being being cautious because usually when I'm doing broadcasting, no one's here, so.
Right. I think that's good. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yes. Mhm.
All right. This is face facts. Everything's said as good as it's going to get. Is that a VLC? Yeah. It's a VLC in the background.
I mean, people just leave them by the side of the road.
I might have taken one at one point in my life.
Everyone did. It's like that thing you do. Well, no one's here.
All right. Give me a few more words, Pedro. Make sure we're not getting extra popping from you.
I'm getting all the words, some words, maybe that teeny tiny amount of words. I did change the USB port that the mic was connected to. I can. There are still like 3 more free at the back of the case. I can use one of the USB 3.1s.
Yeah, I'm getting a little. Maybe you want to hop out and like refresh that room.
Okay.
Aw.
All right, refreshing.
Wow.
Hello.
Oh, still getting it.
Okay. Audio settings are maintained. So if there is popping, let me know.
I will. I'm getting no pop. I was right when you joined in, but we'll see.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me flip you over to... Wait. Outputs.
All the outputs, none of the outputs. Some output. A very refreshing show as always. No, it's not fresh at all. It's warm. Very warm.
All right, I got you set up on a backup deck, just in case.
Okay.
Cool beans.
All right.
Let's give this a shot, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens. Maybe. I don't know. Everything's closed. And okay. So, and all right.
Yes.
Assume the position. Or not. It's up to you. 3, 2, and welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, a special Thanksgiving Day episode. That's what they call it in Britannia, isn't it, Pedro?
Might as well be. It's like, oh yeah, all of them people that speak with an accent similar to mine have left the country, and then I came back.
He does that, man. He comes back each and every week, along with Jill Bryant. Hey, what's going on, Jill?
Hi. Hello, everyone. Well, I'm in progress of rewiring my broadcasting computer and replacing an old UPS whose battery died with a new one. So just in case we have some brownouts here in the summertime, I won't have issues.
Oh, man, it's LA in California. No brownouts. I mean,
Yeah.
That's a solid power grid if I've ever... I'm just kidding. Man, I've been up to a lot. If you're wondering, we're going to talk about some Linux stuff in a hot second. We're just kind of catching up. We were talking about some stuff in the pre-shows, and yeah, Jitsi, having fun with that. Jordan's deploying Jotunheim, which we're working. That's what we're using right now. It's Jitsi. We're not using Jotunheim just yet, and I've started deployment on Steppenwolf. So it's not a duplication of efforts. It is a friendly competition.
It's a competition.
Incentive. It's going to be fun times and good times, but we are going to get into some of the Linuxy things that we found interesting that have happened since last Wednesday. Starting off with that nonsense is we got to make a correction, Pedro.
Ooh, yes, we do. We kind of got it completely wrong last week.
We did. Hamburger correction menu is what I want to call it. They're not getting rid of the hamburger menu. We're talking about GNOME and, you know, this stupid monkey little thing over here. They're going to try to make it useful. Again, they're going to be adding, so if reading this correctly, which this is not the most straightforward thing in the world, is they're going to be taking, what, the application menu stuff and cramming it back down in there?
Yep, because GNOME was doing the macOS thing where it would give you like a teeny tiny menu on the top panel. That's where you saw the application menus. Well, they're moving it back, or moving it into the hamburger menu, apparently. I kind of liked when I first read it, it's like, oh, they're actually separating the menus now into, instead of having the menu all laid out, you get separate hamburger menus, each for its own thing. And I really like that idea. This not so much.
I don't have anything against this. Who was it? Leo sent a note. He's like, hey, yo, did you read that? And I was like, I read it. And I reread it, and I was like, right. So I just wanted to get that right. But Leo did point out the reason that all three of us misunderstood this is because we all possess blind hatred for the GNOME project.
That's pretty funny.
So just keep that in mind, even though we were praising GNOME last week for doing something. But let's get into the business. Susie.
Oh, this is a big one. A $2.5 billion big one. So, yeah, Susie has been bought again. This time, Micro Focus has sold it to, who did they sell it to? Let's see.
Swedish Private
Equity Group.
Okay, it's just that. I thought it had a name proper, but it doesn't. So it's, they sold it to the Swedish Private Equity Group, and it's a $2.5 billion purchase for the Susie, which, who was it? Mike G in the comments of the show notes actually brought up a very good point, which is anything that's not Microsoft. Just anything that's not Microsoft, because there was one of the long-running jokes in the Linux community that, Susie was bought by Microsoft, so it's just terrible as an operating system. And then Microsoft goes and buys GitHub, and nowadays everyone's going like, oh god, Microsoft is taking over. So it's good to see that something that isn't owned by Microsoft is still around, and hey, we'll see what the Swedish do with it.
I didn't think for 1 second Microsoft was going to buy Susie, but here it is. I mean, it's changed hands. It's a different thing, but everything's going to stay the same, right?
Yes, in fact, I was really happy to hear that the Swedish private equity group is still going to allow them to do business as usual, and that SUSE is extremely pleased and positive about its new acquisition. This is awesome because also that SUSE is committed to supporting the open SUSE community, who plays a key role in SUSE's success. They have a very unique relationship in the industry, and with SUSE Linux Enterprise drawing innovation and changes to its software and infrastructure from the Open SUSE project. And that's wonderful. It's the only distribution in one of the only ones in the industry that does that. And what's really cool is this news comes at the heels of the new release of SLES 15, which is much more modular, uses one code base, and only has one installer. So users can install what they require for their workload without having to install different versions of SLES. So that's very innovative.
It's good news. And it's SUSE. Basically, you're going to run into it in enterprise, and there's a few dedicated psychopaths that I know that I run it as a desktop, and you go, oh, okay.
Hi, Mir. How you doing?
Never had a chance to. I've played around with SUSE way back. We're talking like probably 18 years ago. That was my last experience with it. Nothing against it. It's just never seemed like a very. It didn't offer me anything on the desktop.
Oh yeah, I use it in 2 of my render farm servers for rendering animation, and it works quite beautifully. And yeah, Patrick mentioned in chat also that the biggest difference that he's going to see is we're going to have to change names and passwords with our accounts. So at least they're going to keep business as usual, and that's the important thing.
That is good to know.
It's one of the things that SUSE does that I will commend to the rest of my days is OBS. No, not that one, the other one. And yeah, it's a really good hosting system / build system / everything else. It does what it's supposed to do, and it supports other distros, not just SUSE. So it's good. Keep on it.
Right on, right on. Let's keep on with it. Linux Foundation, Platinum Chrome, man.
Yes.
Yeah, Google becomes platinum member of Linux Foundation, demonstrating its commitment to the open source community. This is a big deal. Also because IBM, Intel, Oracle, Qualcomm, Microsoft, and VMware are already platinum members. And Google knows that open containers are growing exponentially and are the future to almost every business. And GitLab is moving to Google Kubernetes, and GitHub has been bought by Microsoft. I am very sure that this is an impetus for Google to double down on its commitment to open source. And putting someone on the board of directors at the Linux Foundation is just the ticket.
Well, here's the thing. Google got rid of Do No Evil, but it turns out you can buy a lot of goodwill in the community for $270,000 a year. Pedro.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually thought the platinum membership, wasn't it $500,000 a year at one point?
They had coupons, all right?
All right. Okay. But yeah, no, apparently that's changed because I checked the Linux Foundation website. So, oh no, it's $270,000 a year. Okay. So my question is, considering that Google announced not too long ago that they were developing a completely new operating system that's not Linux based called Fuchsia
for
Project
Chromebooks
Fuchsia?
and Android.
Yes. Is this guilt money?
Nope.
Is this?
No. I don't see the connection there because the whole Fuchsia thing is it's called Project Dynafier Oracle. Quit trying to sue us.
Sure. Yes.
It's also called Project having to pay royalties because of Microsoft patents to Android.
Yeah, the file system patent is still very much there.
So I say good on them. It's definitely a good way to endear yourself, and it's a good way to get on the board too.
Yeah.
But
all right. So speaking of Google and Linux,
happy times here again. We get to talk about this about every 2 weeks because it seems more and more is rolling out. Linux apps on Chrome OS. coming to 18 more Chromebooks. This is from The Verge. All of this is going to be in our show notes. Go check that out. 18 more Chromebooks are getting support on Chrome OS. It's pretty neat. Laptops based on Intel's Apollo Lake architecture, now able to run the applications. There's some more information over at XDA. Of course, there's ways to do this unofficially if you want to play around with it. And previously, it was with the Pixelbook and what was it, the Chromebook Plus from Samsung, I believe.
Yeah.
Those were things. However, I've said this before, and I'm going to keep saying this. You know, I'm very much on Team Keep Chrome OS, a glorified web browser. I mean, I am. Simply because, here's the thing. I understand the people like us. Absolutely. Myself, Jill, but all of you in the audience, like, yeah, I want this because I can do more with it. 100%. There needs to be a big honking switch where you can cut that feature off. Absolutely. Because I look at like the two people, one in particular that I bought a Chromebook for, was an older lady, and I went to go mess around with her computer. And she's like, it's slow. And I looked at it and I was like, you just need to Hendrix this thing with petrol and light it up. And I picked her up a Chromebook. It wasn't an expensive one. It was like $280. Happy.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you need? I need the Facebook. I need Skype. Here. Done.
Yeah.
Can't do anything to it. Oh, it's broke. Here's how you power wash. Okay, log back into your Google account. Everything's back. Done.
Yeah. And that is the big selling point of the Chromebooks. But as one of them people who like to tinker about with Chromebooks and who spent 250 pounds on this pretty little Acer R11, I'm sitting here wondering, okay, Apollo Lake is all well and good. How about some of that Braswell love? Because there have been, Google have announced that there will be some Chromebooks, like some of the ARM ones and some of the really early Intel ones that will not get Linux support at all. And this one is not among that list. So pretty please, Google, get annoy Acer if you have to. Just, you know, let me have my terminal and my debs, please.
Yeah. my first Samsung Atom-based Chromebook is not on that list either. So, but I actually am looking forward to natively installing deb files on my Chromebook, and that is coming. I have a link posted in our show notes about that, because that is actually a big deal for us that are the tinkers and the developers and whatnot.
I like the idea, but if I'm to the point where I have a system that I feel comfortable, I'm going to install Debian package or anything else, why not just put a distribution on it?
I do have Crouton, but it would be nice to not have Crouton, because it beeps whenever you reboot. That's annoying.
Again, why not just put my Fedora on it and...
It still beeps when you disable the OS checker, the bootloader that Google loaded the Chromebooks with. It beeps.
Okay, so you've taken this one apart. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, right? You've taken this one apart?
I have opened the back lid, yes.
Do you know where the internal speaker's located?
It's actually embedded. I would have to actually cut a bit of the path on the silicon to get it to shut up.
Good.
Yeah.
See, problem solved.
Yeah, no, everything is on board in a Chromebook. That's the annoying bit. RAM is on board, the MMC is on board, everything.
Okay, supercomputers up next.
Yeah, supercomputers. So, for the first time in a long, long time, all of the, 2012. It's a long, long time internet time. But all of the top 100, top 500 supercomputers in the world are running Linux. They're all running one manner of Linux or another. It's a top 500 list, yes. And yeah, every single one. It used to be that Linux was only like 95% or 97%. Now it's 100%. That's pretty good. And if we're being honest with ourselves, over the past 2.5 decades, Linux has been honed for supercomputers and servers and the whatnot, so it'd be stupid not to.
I'm kind of surprised that the Summit from Oak Ridge, which is one kicking the new teeth It only cost $200 million. They got it together in 4 years.
Yeah.
How did they do that, Joe?
Yeah. Well, awesome. So Red Hat Enterprise Linux, of course, is running on Summit, and it's powered by boards running with two 22-core IBM Power 9 CPUs and 6 NVIDIA Tesla V100 GPUs. According to NVIDIA, 95% of the Summit's peak performance, 187.7 petaflops, is derived from the system's 27,686 GPUs. And actually, this marks the first time GPU performance has overcame the CPU and supercomputer performance. And as for it being less expensive, well, actually, in this case, the GPUs are cheaper than the CPUs and the motherboards combined.
Power is expensive.
Well, yeah. Power 9. And that's what we're going to be seeing in the future, man. I mean, it's all going to be GPU clusters. So
so much faster at rendering and processing.
And I guess that speaks to NVIDIA's Volta architecture, which we've all seen what it can do, even though they clearly said that the Titan V is not a gaming video card. Yeah, but it's beating every other video card out on the market right now. Sure, it costs $3,000, but it's beating everything else.
Yeah.
Don't worry. NVIDIA is going to release the new whatever. I didn't check the paper this morning. I don't know what the new release rumor is, but brave new world, brave new browser, brave as a browser, and you see, Pedro, browsers are like ogres. Mm-hmm. They got onion layers or something like that.
And all of them make you cry.
Something about a parfait, man. I forget. Onion routing is the way to go. It's all about layers of encryption. Brave. It is a browser, and that is focused on privacy. I took it for a spin. It's available for Linux, and I wanted to see what it was all about. Basically, if you're going to get this up and running on a modern Linux distribution, step 1, install curl. Step 2, go, whoa, this thing's 428 megabytes. It is, and it does work. I tried it. We're looking at the image here. This thing's based on Chromium, right?
It is. Correct. Using some manner of Blink, yes.
Okay. Yeah. You could do a new private tab with Tor, and it worked. I didn't hammer on it. I went to the Reddits. I went to the /dot, and it wasn't painfully slow, but it was, you remember like 2G internet? Mm-hmm. Somewhere around there, but that is the big new thing in this feature. It is there for you to try. Tor's neat. Yeah. I understand it for security. I just don't have I have plenty of paranoia that online stuff's never been won.
Yeah, and there is another paranoia, especially if you live in the United States, which is you open up the Tor browser and the some manner of alphabet agency gets a bit of a red flag. He's like, yep, there's a Tor.
Why would they need the red flag? They probably own half the exit nodes, man.
Probably.
Or at least running them.
Yeah, but it's Tor. It has become slower over time, and they actually bring this up in the article, which is there's a lot more people using Tor nowadays on accounts of the whole Facebook thing, and it's like, okay, how do I get my privacy back? And Tor is a thing, and people use Tor, and well, there are a limited number of nodes, and with those alphabet agencies cracking down on people running those nodes who aren't them, it's going to slow down even more. So yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah, a lot more people will be on the deep web, searching through sites you can't normally see.
This is a thing. I mean, for your basic browsing, Tor work if you're worried about whatever. I mean, especially if you're in some weird, can't even say weird country, man. Did you hear what, I think it was Uganda started today with a 5-cent social media tax, which is
Egypt tried to block Facebook at one point.
Well, it's for your own good, citizen. That's a sign that you're probably living in a dictatorship. Also, I think another one is if it says People's Republic anywhere in the country's name, bad news. Google Cloud steps up storage game to Court Hollywood. Launches file store.
Yeah. This is awesome. This is a Google Cloud File Store is a wonderful option for movie and animation studios to render computer graphics and be able to store and move those large files efficiently and quickly. What's unique about this is that with a classic online render farm, you send your files and animations to be rendered via the internet, and you get charged for the processing time per gigahertz used. What is unique about this device, Cloud File Store, is that it both is an in-house network-attached storage server and an online render farm called a Google Cloud Transfer Appliance. And you are charged actually, instead of per gigahertz, per GPU per month. And that's either 30 cents per gigabyte per month or 20 cents per gigabyte a month, depending on the tier you choose. And that's what's very unique about this particular render farm. Again, it's both a NAS and a render farm, and it's in-house as well as on the internet. And you can actually sign up to the beta program right now. I put the link to the website in the show notes. And animation houses and businesses that need to move large amounts of data using low latency apply. It's pretty cool. So this is a very unique.
Yeah, your audio's gotten really scratchy.
Did you yank on a cable somewhere? Because it sounded like you yanked on a cable somewhere.
No, haven't touched anything. Okay. No.
I guess let me see if I can reboot the DAX and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Edit point, Venn.
Yeah, I was just holding my hands. This is my...
Yeah, no, because your audio, it started cutting out and it started popping.
Okay, so, and I just heard myself go too. So maybe I need to...
There we go. Okay, say more things, Jill.
Okay. Testing 1, 2, 3. We're going up and down and all the way around. Testing 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. Do we have to do that portion of the show notes?
Oh, there it goes
again. Okay. Do I need to? Should I refresh myself?
Nope.
On the web browser?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
So that one was really gravelly. I probably won't be able to cut through that.
Okay.
Just redo. We're just going to have to redo the Google thing.
Okay. No problem.
So just lead into that in 3, starting with you, Jill, in 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Google Cloud steps up storage game to Court Hollywood, launches File Store. And Google Cloud File Store is a wonderful option for movie and animation studios to render computer graphics and be able to store and move those large files efficiently and quickly. With a classic online render farm, you send your files and animations to be rendered via the internet, and you get charged for the processing time per gigahertz used. What is unique about Cloud File Store is that it's both an in-house network-attached storage server and an online render farm called a Google Cloud Transfer Appliance. And with Google File Store, you are charged per gigabyte per month, either 30 cents per gig per month or 20 cents per gig per month, depending on the tier you bought. And that's very unique, actually, in the animation farm industry. And you can sign up for the beta program for Google Cloud File Store on a link I provided in the show notes. And this is actually really, really awesome that you can sign up for the beta program. So animation houses and businesses that need to move large amounts of data using low latency apply. And I know some companies that should be applying to this. So that's
Although
really awesome.
it is a nice chunk of cash up front, even without counting like the 20 or 30 cents per gigabyte per month. You also have to pay $300 for 100 terabytes of storage up front. And if you want it at a reasonable time, you will have to pay another $500 on top of that in shipping. If you do like the price per gigabyte, that sounds low, especially compared to like the typical user grade hard drives. It's much lower. It's 100 terabytes for $800. That's not bad, but it's a significant chunk of change once the monthly costs start adding up, and you're actually using it to render stuff, and you need to get those rendered files back.
Hey, there's two ways to look at this, two ways to think about this. First, it's Google, so I'm just going to say, good luck with that. And when I say good luck with that, good luck talking people into using this service, because, again, it's Google. Give it 3 years, it's either, one, not going to exist, or there's going to be 6 versions of it. Amazon has eaten your lunch on this, Googs. This is way too late to the party, and you're offering... I mean, this is like Google Search Appliance Mark II, man. It's like, have fun. Somebody's going to buy it. It's going to exist.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And if Google didn't have such a bad rep with killing off their services that people actually use,
well, here's
maybe
another
people would
thing.
be tempted.
Yeah.
In the notes I do have listed.
Yeah.
Right there's a Medium article that blew up this week. And we're talking an instance for a very large project. And Google... using its beautiful AI, flagged it for basically fraud or something like that with the payments. Have you ever tried getting hold of anyone at Google, like a real meat space person? Yeah. So this was a massive thing with multiple instances, a very large project. That was down, fortunately, only for a few hours, but the only way to get a hold to pull up their services was through email and waiting on that.
Yeah. Well, that was though that was a mistake, as opposed to Google actually, completely changing the way they run it. So, and for Google, this is where their money is going to be, in cloud infrastructure, and they know that this is a vertical climb to that, introducing themselves to Hollywood. So I think this is.
I think they can try it. Again, I think Amazon, AWS has beat them to it, and I also think Microsoft's already beat them to it. I don't know if there's enough room in the market for a third player this late in the game.
Well, the difference, is that this is also an in-house NAS, and that is unique for animators and animation houses.
I also got to balance that out with like the legitimate thing of if you're large enough for this service, you're probably doing it in-house.
Yeah, you're already doing it in-house.
Yeah.
Then you deal with like the just straight up paranoia with legitimate of anything getting leaked.
Yep.
So we'll see.
And these are companies that have millions of dollars. So to them, this is a kick in the bucket. the movie studios and whatnot. So
let's see. Coming up next, we have Ubuntu Studio Audio Handbook. This is something they put out. It's a nice little guide. Pedro, they say he was kind enough to donate his time and just how to set everything up. If you're going to be playing with Jack, what type of hardware are you going to need? Can you get away with an old laptop? Do you need new stuff? Is it expensive? Some of the plugins, effects, and all that. What would you record with? The software VTS programs, advanced recording with Audio, because, if you're going to be doing DAW work, that's probably what you're going to end up doing. It's going to cover mixing and mastering, how to share your music, and this is written from the perspective of just like his personal journey going through this. And it was kind of a fun read. It was relatively interesting. And a couple things in there. I mean, hardware-wise, it's like, well, let's see, what does this guy know what he's talking about? And he's like, yeah, use the Euphoria UMC22, and that's like a baby version of what we use for this show. We use the 404. And so it's like, oh, he knows what he's talking about, because that's a very good interface for the price. And he does point out, and I think this is very true. A lot of people were thinking, it's like, oh, you're going to do a podcast or anything like that. That's all I can speak to, because that's what I work on recording. You can get away with a decade-old computer. You do not need the latest and greatest. You start throwing video in there, then just make it rain. Start throwing money at problems. The Audacity and Audio, two different animals, But if you're going to be doing multi-track recording, both of them play nice. I would prefer using Ardour. And he does bring up Jack. So, yeah, I've taken the Jack challenge. And
yes.
yeah, I'll offer you a little bit of advice. If you're just doing like a podcast or basic audio recording, don't bother with it. I mean, unless you want something to do, you want a little bit of a headache, but unless you have a dedicated box just for that audio, just use Pulse Audio. The reason I'm saying that is Jack, it's not hard to get up and working. It's kind of fun learning how to patch everything together, but it is temperamental and it is finicky. It wants a box all to itself. It wants all the cycles. It does not want anything else going on, or it's just bad times. I mean, that are my thoughts.
Yeah. I was impressed. Ubuntu Studio comes with a really nice Jack audio configuration tool, and the author Peter Pert goes into extreme detail on how to set it up and use it with many of the music programs available for Linux. So I think that's definitely, he had a wiki and has turned it into a book, and that's really nice to have, especially for the musicians out there wanting to use Jack with all the different programs.
And it's a good thing that he actually brought up the fact that, yes, you can use a slightly older laptop. It saves a lot of musicians, especially those running on, a very tight budget, not having to buy a MacBook Pro or something like that. Just, get a laptop, run Ubuntu Studio, and just follow the instructions. Very good instructions, by the way.
It's well laid out. Music production is relatively straightforward under Linux. So, if you're using it, it's available. Good luck getting somebody who's already bought into the Mac ecosystem over to that, but it is still an option. Coming up next, Sci5 claims its new open cores can beat ARM's power-efficient processors. Probably not. They're designing an open and customizable processor based on RISC-V, and they're saying, hey, man, more power efficient than ARM's competing process. I just no. I don't believe this for a hot second. Joe?
Oh, yeah. So Foxy in chat brought this to our attention, and actually he wrote us a little note here, and about how the cores in questions are not CPUs in the regular sense. These are microcontroller CPUs. And they are used in robots, hard drives, and our graphics cards directly, not through an OS. And what the power consumption means is smaller devices without the need for huge batteries. Not to mention, since it's the RISC-V, no custom dev platform is needed. This means faster turnaround and fewer license costs, making cheaper products. And that was Foxy stated that well. And he was the one, of course, who brought this to our attention. And he himself did a wonderful YouTube video explaining how the RISC-V 5 CPU architecture works on a Sci5 Hi-5 Arduino compatible board with RISC-V based Freedom E300 processor. So they're we had several layers in this story. And
Foxy brought up an issue because it's in the article they mentioned, it's the current RISC-V board, development board that Sci5 has available goes for 60 for a 320 megahertz microprocessor, while, say, a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus goes for 35, and that has a 1.4 gigahertz quad-core ARM64 SoC at 40-ish bucks. So and Foxy had an issue because you're comparing apples to oranges, and the architecture is all open, so you don't have to buy the board. Yeah, I don't have to buy the board, but they're offering the option to sell it to me, and it's more expensive than the Raspberry Pi. And guess what, Foxy? There are already ARM SoCs being used as microprocessors in mice, in keyboards, in all manner of appliances. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have anything to say to this until I see some silicone. I mean,
Yeah.
nice to hear.
It could be more efficient, but that's a very I don't even know. It's in the future. It's not a thing. It doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, it's not. Doesn't exist yet. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you like this nonsense, you can head over to linuxgamecast.com, slap that support the shows button. We got Patreons, we got some Amazon affiliate links. We even got a little wish zone for some stuff. I just changed up our Project Bifrost stuff if you want to go check that out. We got Humble, LibrePay, and all that fun stuff. But best way to do that is, whoa, yeah, that's what I changed up. I forgot to close that. You didn't see anything. Patreon.com/LinuxGamecast. Thanks everyone making this show possible, because this show started as a Patreon goal and we met it. So we get to do it each and every week, and it helps finance this nonsense. Thanks everyone for doing that. We get a little segment we like to call Slice of Pie, where we get to talk about happy, fun, embedded stuff. Starting out with the Power Pies.
Yes, very interesting looking Power Pie, the Firefly, as they call it. It's a $200 development board. It's one of them typical looking rectangular development boards, similar to the Raspberry Pi, until you look that, wait, hold on a second, is that a button battery socket? Does ARM need CMOS now? Really? What are you playing at here? Yeah, it's the Renegade Elite. It's a single board computer. It comes with the Rock chip 3399. It is a very well-performing chip. It comes with some Type-C USB ports. Yes, it does. You can pre-order it right now for $100. But if you'd like some accessories on top of that, it's $200. And the prices, LibreComputer, they say that the retail prices will be slightly higher when it's finally released. So, something to look forward to.
I kind of get excited every time I see something like this. Then as soon as they start hitting 3 digits, it's like 100, and it's like, nope.
Again, Raspberry Pi 3, quad core, ARM64, $40. Yeah.
Although the older version of this is only $35. So that was really cool.
35. The biggest problem with the Raspberry Pi 3, it's gigabit air quote Ethernet.
Yeah, it's shared with the USB 3.0.
Nope, you get this is wrong. It doesn't have the USB 3.0. It works on the 2.0 bus, enabling about 300 megabits maximum throughput. Trust me, I've researched this inside out, because I was going to try to build our video relay boxes for you and Jordan and Jill on a Pi 3, and that ain't going to happen.
No.
Yeah. That's why they can't have USB 3, because that's the whole of the bandwidth that USB 3 could do, 300 megs. That's it.
Well, that, I mean, it's going to get more expensive, but for it to, outside of like, because the Raspberry Pi really fills, why are you guys talking about Raspberry Pi? Because we want to. It's our show.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Pi feels, you can almost get away with doing something more than an overpowered Tinker board, but it's not quite there. I mean, it needs another 2 gigs of RAM, and it needs USB 3.
Yes, and a separate Ethernet bus.
If you got USB 3, you can just throw a dongle adapter on it and be done with it.
3.1.
Either way, man. I mean, it's better than 300 megabits. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, really? Well, it's technically a gigabit port jack. I'm like, yeah, all right. However,
I'm sure it would support if it was connected to the right NIC, which it isn't.
But yeah, the older one's $35 for this. And when did they say the pre-orders? It's already on pre-order, right?
Yep, it is. The pre-order is 100. And the if you want all the accessories, it's 200.
200, and they say when this thing comes down for retail, it's going to be about 20% higher after the Indiegogo campaign ends. So keep that in mind. All right, let's hit like Nerd Factor X4 on this.
Yay!
Jill, you want to take this one?
Well, now you can play badass Acorn Archimedes games on a Raspberry Pi. This is really really awesome. All you needed is a spare SD card, and you can RISC OS all the things, which is really awesome. And actually, the significance of this is the where the term the ARM processor came from was the Acorn RISC machine processor was initially launched. And it was initially launched on the Acorn Archimedes computer.